Hey, everybody.
Hi, guys. Well, from the liquored up city of Salt Lake City, Utah,
It's Thank God I'm Atheist.
the podcast.
I'm Frank.
And I'm Dan.
Coming up on today's episode, we're going to be talking about
Liquor.
booze and the Mormon Church.
You liquor, you brought her.
And Utah. Okay. And basically, it's a cautionary tale.
I don't know what the tale is. But I will say this. People who come to Utah are certainly fascinated by our liquor laws.
And we're going to talk about the Mormon Church's
They don't exert
effect
They don't
on
exert
control
any influence, do they?
of whatever law they want to have control over, they get to have control over it.
It's a special situation here.
Yeah, it's a nice system.
We'll
It's a good
get
system.
we'll get to that later.
Separation of church and state is strong in Utah.
Separation of church and state in Utah is about 4 blocks.
That's true.
It's just, well, not even that.
Not even that.
No, it's like 2 blocks.
Maybe. Yeah. 2 city blocks.
That's
Church office building, state capitol.
Anyway, we'll get to all of that. It'll be fun.
Yes.
Meanwhile, why don't you tell us a story, Frank?
Well, I have the story of some conservative Protestants.
Oh,
And it's about conservative Protestants and their divorce rate.
oh dear.
And which is high
Oh,
already.
Okay.
And there's reasons that it's high. Like these are sort of Bible belty types, right?
okay.
Evangelical types, but just conservative Protestants in general. Whatever that is.
Sure.
Okay. They tend to get married young, have kids young,
Sure.
and
Sure, that's the aesthetic.
avoid education.
Right.
Otherwise, they were starting to sound like Mormons.
Yeah.
But as soon as you throw in the whole
Education
thing, it causes problems.
They eschew the education.
Yes, and it causes problems for their marriages.
Oh.
And they have a high divorce rate.
Oh.
Well, apparently, it's contagious. It affects their non-conservative Protestant neighbors' marriages as well.
What does that even mean?
It means that in these regions where you have a large number of conservative Protestants
Yeah.
who are getting divorces at higher rates, their non-conservative Protestant neighbors who don't have the same model that they've been following for their marriage tend to also have higher rates of divorce.
Oh, they're
According
setting
to-
examples.
Yeah, well, it's just sort of it creates a society, it creates a culture that people live in.
There you go.
So it's a new study titled "Red States, Blue States, and Divorce: Understanding the Impact of Conservative Protestantism on Regional Variation in Divorce Rates."
I was really hoping you were going to say red states, blue states, 1 states, 2 states. I don't know. It just started to sound a little Dr. Seuss to me.
And then it sounded very Dr. Seuss.
And then you took a sharp left.
Yeah. So I just liked that. I like the. I mean, I don't like it. I think divorce is well.
I think divorce is great.
Divorce is great if it's needed,
Yeah.
right? But you were young and married.
Yeah, and then I got divorced.
Yeah.
This is no reflection on my ex-wife, but I'm very glad that I got divorced. Mm-hmm. That was not
It was the right decision.
That was not the right marriage for me.
Right.
My current marriage is the right marriage for me.
Right.
Divorce is great. I mean, you need to have the option of like realizing you made mistakes. It's not what you wanted.
A big boo-boo.
There's no.
And yes, I agree with you 100%. And I'm not trying to like malign divorce.
Right.
And like, man, you people who get divorced. But I do think it's important to for society
Yeah.
to embrace values which have shown to actually create stronger marriages in the first place.
Sure.
So that you don't have to go through something like a divorce.
Right. Divorce
Right.
is hard and it's awful. It's an
Right.
awful thing to go through.
Right.
Even the most amicable of divorces is still a pain in the ass.
Right. And we clearly know that when people get married just a little bit older, and they don't rush into having kids, and they also happen to be educated,
Right.
then they tend to have stronger marriages that last.
Well, we say educated as though that what that ends up meaning is not that you learn anything in school about how to be married better, but what you do learn is who you are.
Exactly.
You study you more than anything, and then you know like what you want in a partner, and you probably date multiple kinds of people, lots of kinds of people.
I hope that most degrees you are studying a little bit more than just you.
No.
Dan,
no, you're not.
Dan, you were a theater major. I think you did a lot of studying.
That's true.
More so than most other degrees.
Actually, the opposite. When you're a theater major, you study everybody else because you're trying to pretend to be them all.
Spend like your whole freshman year doing weird things that make you cry in class.
You do. You're right. A lot of rolling around on the ground is what we did.
I know too many theater majors, Dan, to know that you did a lot of
They really do break you down.
Yeah. But anyways,
there you go. Less so now, actually. But what's funny is that they're not as good anymore.
Yeah.
You need to bust them down.
Yeah, it's important.
Well, there you go.
Divorces
are an issue. Here's the thing. I think that what the cause of divorces is not something going wrong in the marriage. It's people not knowing who the fuck they are before they get married. Right. And not learning anything about what they want in a partner before they get married. And here's an interesting fact. After your first divorce, they say that if you have a second divorce, after your second divorce, you're far more likely to have multiple more divorces.
That was my grandmother.
Yeah. Because the second divorce means that you didn't learn anything from divorce number one, or you didn't learn the lessons that you needed to learn from divorce number one. And it's not always the case, but it shows a recidivism pattern of like diving back into a marriage without having figured out what it is. Like, it's not your marriage that's the problem. It's you making choices.
You're a selfish bastard.
Well, if you are a selfish bastard, you need to marry someone who can be with a selfish bastard.
Right.
It's not about, like, you don't have to... I mean, you should change you for the better. We should all be trying to change ourselves for the better.
You should probably try to become less of a bastard.
A
little more altruistic.
Less of a bastard works well in marriage. Just as a general rule.
A little more generous.
Yeah.
With your time and love. Yeah.
And, And a little, and less, if you're less of a bastard, you won't nag your partner about nonsense and stuff as much.
But what if you technically are a bastard?
Then this is what I'm saying.
Because some people, you don't have any control whether your parents were married or not.
Oh, well, there is that. Then you can't be any less of a bastard. If we're going to use the original the original meaning of bastard, it's a binary system. You either are or are not.
Yeah.
And then you're just screwed.
It's fine.
It's fine either way.
If you are technically a bastard, that's fine.
It's fine. It's
not your fault.
At Thank God I'm Atheist, we take the very controversial position that bastardy is totally acceptable. All right, I'm moving on.
Okay.
I'm sure that you've heard of Susilo Bambang. Sorry, Susilo Bambang Yudhoyono.
I was about to correct you. Yeah.
Thank you, yes. Mm-hmm. Susilo Bambang Yudhoyono.
There needs to be something else in there that is said twice.
Yes, indeed. Anyway, this person is the president of Indonesia. Former president? I think he's president.
Okay.
Either which way, he's the first president of Indonesia to have publicly acknowledged his absolute and total belief in witchcraft.
Well,
he has proof.
He does.
It was proven to him.
Okay.
He writes in his memoir that yes, he wrote a memour. And apparently it's like a 900-page tome.
He had a lot to remember.
He wrote it all. He's like, here are all of my memories. I remember the time I went to the store and my mother wouldn't buy me gum. Then another time I went to the store and she would buy me gum. So that was good. That was improvement. But here's what he writes. This is his encounter with black magic.
Oh, scary. Okay.
Quote, suddenly my wife... Oh, I'm going to do this in a big spooky voice. Suddenly my wife screamed. Well, crap. If you're going to include Indonesian words, I'm not going to be able to do this spooky.
Dicky dicky bang bang.
Really? Frank just... All right. Dicky dicky bang bang is what it says. Which apparently is translated to, there is always a choice. Oh, there is always a choice.
That's what dicky dicky bang bang means? Oh, okay.
There was a thick, dark cloud hovering beneath the ceiling, trying to enter my bedroom. I then asked everyone to pray to seek Allah's help. I closed the door to my room, but left others wide open. The revolving clouds eventually headed out of my house.
Ooh. Wow. That is scary. That is scary.
Yeah, spooky things happening in Indonesia.
Okay.
That's the leader of a major country in our world.
Yeah, a lot of people live there. That's a big country.
Big populace.
Yeah.
A lot of people in Indonesia apparently believe in witchcraft. Of course, Islam forbids witchcraft, but in forbidding it, acknowledges its existence.
Yeah.
And that becomes a real fun little diddly-do there, where, the dark clouds forming it.
Yeah, that makes sense. Yeah, that's crazy. Yeah, but just because, I mean, think about it in more sort of like Christian terms. You may not pray to Satan, but you believe he's there.
Yeah.
And he can, have power over you and blah, blah, blah. Yeah, you're right. Okay.
I mean, yeah. I think we should. I think if you're confronting Christians, you should talk only about the dark side of their belief.
Oh,
because it has to be there. If you believe in the Bible, then you believe in all of that crap.
Just be like, so tell me what you believe about hell,
right? Or well, no. What? Tell me what you believe. In the Bible how it talks about Moses throwing Aaron's rod down and it turns into a snake. Can you guys do that?
Is that still something you do?
I want to see that. I mean, Moses did it. Why can't you guys do that?
Yeah.
Quick, throw this stick down. See what it turns into. Throw a little stick down and turn it into a worm.
Why
just
not?
A little one.
Yeah, just a worm.
Doesn't have to be like something big like a snake.
A little earthworm.
Yeah.
Actually, it's good for the soil.
It's good for the soil.
Planting a garden, throw some sticks down.
Throw down a few sticks and command them to be worms.
Do their little organic thing.
Be thou worm! Anyway,
okay.
So that's that.
So that is fascinating. Has there been any repercussion for him?
No,
Nobody has said boo about it.
I think it's a pretty superstitious country. Everybody's kind of down for it. Good job, Indos.
Wow. Indonesia.
Can I call them Indos? Is that the proper?
I think that's somewhere
It's
close
not
to
good?
ticky ticky bang bang. Yeah. I think there's something a little.
Well, I figure if we're gonna go
wrong.
racist, we might as well just go all the way.
That. Yeah. So sorry, guys.
All right.
Sorry, Indonesian listeners.
Okay.
We know nothing about your
Let's
country.
move on to another story before we get more trouble than we're already in.
All right. Well, I have a story about the Tiger Mom. Do you remember the Tiger Mom, Dan?
Oh yeah,
she's the one who
she's the one that held up Simba over the crowd and said, "One day, everything that the light touches will be yours."
I don't think that was the Tiger Mom.
Oh, that's the Lion King. Sorry.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Tiger Mom is the woman, Amy Chua is her name. That's how I'm going to say it, at least. She is the one she wrote a book a few years ago about how to raise a really high performing child, right? And it's a lot of old world discipline,
right?
And beatings and lashings, and
sure,
you're going to be a master concert pianist whether you like it or not,
right?
Type
Exactly.
thing.
Yeah.
You know, that's sort of you have no time for socializing or anything. Your life is to learn and to learn how to play this instrument. There's always an instrument involved. I don't know why.
Because you have to learn.
It's usually the piano or the cello or violin or something.
Yeah.
It's always a very classical instrument.
Yeah.
Anyways, so she's coming out with a new book called The Triple Package. And she co-wrote it with her husband, Jed Rubenfeld. Oh, anyways, so it's the triple package, how 3 unlikely traits explain the rise and fall of cultural groups in America.
Oh, that's right. Yeah.
And so what she's saying, so she has these, so she's specifically, and the way that this ties into religion is that she looks at Mormons and Jews as sort of the 2 religious examples in the book, apparently. I haven't read it. Okay, everybody. We haven't read it. So before you start yelling at us, I'm going off of stuff I've read about it. So anyway, so Mormons and Jews, and then and also immigrants from Cuba, Lebanon, Iran, Nigeria, China, and India. And points out that they seem to be more socioeconomically successful than other groups in America.
Right.
And she says that all these groups share 3 traits. 1, a superiority complex.
Oh.
So like
they think they're better than everybody else.
They think that there's so like in the case of Mormons, they're the only ones going to heaven. They're the only ones that got it figured out. They're the only ones with God's true word.
Right.
Blah blah blah. They have the living prophet. That whole thing. So they set themselves up as being better than everybody else.
Right.
Luckier than, more blessed than,
sure.
All that crap. Okay. And then number 2 is a corresponding insecurity.
Oh, yeah.
That feeds off of.
I was going to say, because they've got a concurrent martyr thing going on. And you know what? Jews, it's kind of the same deal. They call themselves the chosen people and then talk nonstop about how they're like, they get shit on for eternity. Which, I mean, you know, with good reason.
Yeah.
They get shit on a lot.
Yeah.
But yeah, you get you combine being extra special and
with, for some reason, everybody hates us.
And everybody hates it. Why don't they like us?
But we're so much better than them. Why don't they like us?
They need to love us. We're the best. God anointed us.
Yeah.
Why don't you love us?
Seems pretty easy to develop the second one after you have the first one really nailed down.
Right. Once you've locked in that we're better than everybody thing.
Yeah.
Funny how people start bucking up against that.
Yeah, kind of weird. And then the third reason, and this is clearly, it's not surprising because it's the Tiger Mom. She says impulse control is the third sort of feature, and that these 3 things working together. It's not that there's higher IQ or exceptional self-esteem within these communities.
Sure,
it's just sort of this sense of like, just I'm gonna do it. Right.
I am the best.
I'm the best. So I deserve the best.
People don't acknowledge me as the best, so I have to prove to everybody that I'm the best.
And so, coupled with that, having this ability to like put off immediate, or being able to delay gratification. I kept wanting to say gratifaction. Gratification. That kind of creates this scenario.
Is she using data to back any of this up, or is she just making these claims?
No, she's the Tiger Mom. She doesn't need. She doesn't need statistics.
Well, I'll tell you what. I just did a Google search, an image search for Tiger Mom. Meow.
Really?
Hi there, Tiger
Mom. Is she a little hottie?
Asian hottie there.
Tiger Mom. Let me go for this. Images.
Although there's one picture among all of these pictures of her. There's one picture of some other lady holding a baby tiger and her baby daughter, or something. I'm like, oh, okay, yep, wow. Tiger Mom, okay, yeah. She's. Oh, there's her laughing. She kind of has a very stern laughing face. Oh, she looks like she'll kill you. Anyway, no, I do think she's it doesn't seem like she's basing anything on anything real. She's just making claims. Yeah, but she's got this name now. She can sell books. That's the glorious thing in this country. Once you have a name, you can make up anything in a book, write it down, get it published, and sell a bunch of copies. Yeah. I think that's all you have to do. I think the lesson that we need to learn from this is that if you want to be successful, you need to become a Mormon or a Jew. Well, that's basically what she's saying. Join Mormonism or Judaism. It would be helpful if you were also Cuban. Yeah. Or Nigerian or Iranian. Find a way to become Cuban and then join either Mormonism or Judaism.
Yeah.
A Cuban Jew, you're set for life.
Yeah.
Also, I think the other takeaway from this is if you're Mormon or Jewish and you're not so successful,
What's wrong with you?
You are a failure.
Yeah.
You are a failure.
You had all this going for you. You wasted it. You squandered.
You are bad,
your birthright.
and you should feel bad. That's what we're learning.
Yeah.
All right, Tiger Mom. Thanks a lot for all of that useful advice and or commentary.
Yeah. Well, she probably just looked at herself. She clearly has a sense of superiority.
She's like, whatever I'm doing is working. I'm going to, and my husband's a Jew, so obviously Jews work too. She didn't say anything about being Asian?
No, it's Chinese. If you're Chinese, that's good.
Okay. So there you go.
That's helpful.
Good.
If
What
you're
about
Chinese,
I thought Japanese
Indian.
were the ones that had the reputation for doing so well. Oh yeah, Indians. Yeah.
Maybe.
I mean, it's funny. I make
As a
some
nation,
some stereotypical joke about Asians being bad drivers or whatever. It's all stereotypes.
Yeah.
She's written a whole book about look at all these groups that do good.
Well, and I should also this is also kind of funny. Apparently, people are just ripping the thing apart in the media, right? I didn't read any of those. I came across this whole thing on a Mormon's blog. She's like, yeah, I can see it. So that Jenna Reese over at the Religion News Service, was just like, oh yeah, no, this totally makes sense.
Oh my
I can
God.
see that.
Oh my God,
that totally makes sense.
No, wrong.
She's like, I wish she had talked more about impulse control because clearly that's an important thing.
Yeah, well, I mean,
like, okay, sweetheart,
when you aren't. I will say this. I was thinking about BYU students just the other day. Mm-hmm. What was I thinking about? It was something to do with how they're making all these films. They make terrible films, but they're actually getting out there and doing it. These BYU students.
Yeah.
Making all. If you live here, there's Mormon movies that pop up left and right.
Yeah.
And they get into the theaters because Mormons will pay to see what other Mormons have done.
Right.
And I was just thinking about wow, they're real. The truth is that when you're not spending your college years getting laid and boozed, you can be pretty effective. Mm-hmm. You can get some shit done. Mm-hmm. So, maybe there is something to this impulse control deal.
Oh no, yeah, clearly. I mean, clearly, if you could, if that was
not that shouldn't be obvious to everybody,
right?
If you can control your impulses, you're going to master yourself better,
right?
All right, I'm going to a story that was sent in to us from across the pond. Andy in Cambridge, England.
Okay.
Sent this one in.
All right.
Thanks, Andy.
Yeah, thank you.
This is. I had to look up what this was. It's in the Guardian. It says UKIP suspends counselor. UKIP. Mm-hmm. I had no idea what it was. It's a political party. They are conservative libertarian. And founded largely in response against the European Union.
Oh, okay.
So that's kind of where they're coming from. So they suspended this counselor, who is he? He's a counselor in Henley-on-Thames.
Oh, that sounds lovely.
Mm-hmm.
What a beautiful name.
So it's something to do with something that he said about gays. Do you want to take a guess as to what kind of thing he may have said to get himself suspended from the Conservative Libertarian Party in the UK?
That he's fine with it? He's fine with gay people?
No. Quite the opposite. He blamed the recent flooding, on the UK's decision to legalize gay marriage.
No. Really?
It just goes to see. So we have apeshit crazy politicians who make comments like that all the time in the U.S.
Right.
But in the U.S., if you're in the Tea Party and you make that comment, they applaud you.
They stand up and cheer. Yeah.
So I just thought that was an interesting little take. UKIP, of course, stands for the United Kingdom Independent Party.
Of course it does.
I just thought that was fascinating. That yes, David Sylvester has been suspended from his party as a
Floods, really?
Yeah.
No, that's interesting.
He had warned the prime minister of repercussions if gay marriage went ahead.
And here is one.
Aha!
Here it is. Here it
Yes.
is. You see that over there?
There you
Gays. Gays caused that.
go. Gays. It's a fair assessment, Frank.
And their marriages.
Frank, you got to admit. I mean, I know that you're a gay man, so you want to side with the gays. But obviously, if you legalize gay marriage and floods happen, duh.
Yeah. Well, if something happens after something else, then clearly it must have been caused by
That's causation right
first
there.
thing. Yeah,
exactly.
That makes a lot of sense. Makes sense to me. Sure. Yeah.
See, there you go.
All right.
So flooding, that's just what happened. Anyway, thanks, Andy, for sending that in.
Thank you.
Coming from an American perspective, the fact that they're actually like clearing out their extremists
Yeah.
from a party that seems fairly extreme.
Yeah. Well, yeah.
We could learn a thing or two from those British.
Yeah.
I feel like. I mean, we could also learn some awful things from the Brits, but
nobody ever points those out.
no, you never hear that.
All right. Well, I have another little article that is about an event down in Louisiana where there's a lawsuit that has been filed. A mother and father are suing a Louisiana school district, alleging that their child was religiously harassed. Their child is Buddhist.
Oh, well, that's the problem right there.
Yeah.
Of course he or she is going to be harassed. They're Buddhists.
I know they should have thought that one through.
They just weren't thinking.
And that was pretty much the position of the school district. These parents claim that Christianity is regularly taught in the classroom. There's regular prayer in the classroom.
Oh, good. Good.
And that the lawsuit alleges that a science teacher spoke openly about her faith and reportedly said that people who do not believe in God are stupid.
Well, that's science.
No, yeah. I mean,
obviously.
Yeah. She was teaching that the world is 6,000 years old.
Right.
So she was teaching the whole creationism thing.
Right.
And
young earth creationism, to be specific.
Well, yes, thank you. And let's see. Apparently also in the lawsuit, it says that this teacher called the student, the Buddhist student, called the Buddhist called the students Buddhism stupid as well.
Yeah.
She likes to throw around the stupid word.
Well, obviously it's correct because Buddhists believe things that just are probably not true. Whereas she knows what's really true. Which is that, somebody can walk on water and stuff.
In that case, the teacher, she was right. She was wrong to say, to use stupid in the other situation. But in that situation, she was absolutely right and correct. And let's see. Apparently when the family first complained to the school district, they were told that, quote, "This is the Bible Belt." And they suggested that the student transfer to another school or perhaps change his faith.
Do you even know where you are? Do you even know where you live?
Well, if you want to be in this school, you need to be a Christian.
Go move somewhere liberal like Texas. If you don't like it.
Well, actually, this is a case where Texas might seem liberal.
I know. That's what I'm saying. Like, this is crazy talk.
Yeah. This is one of those schools that has a picture of Jesus.
Well, yeah.
Hanging up in the hallways over the main entrance to the school.
I just assumed that.
And, This is a very good school.
Yeah.
And it's very well run.
I did see this story, and apparently I liked that the teacher, like, on one of her tests had put the question, isn't it amazing what the blank has made? as one of the questions on a science test.
The baker?
What? Yeah, exactly.
What a delicious cake.
What the people at CERN have made?
Yeah, exactly.
Isn't it amazing, the Large Hadron Collider? Isn't it amazing what the asteroid has made?
Yeah. All amazing.
Apparently the correct answer is Lord.
Oh, okay.
So I guess it's a reference to that song Royals.
Oh.
Isn't it amazing what the Lord has made?
Yeah.
And will never be royal. Isn't that Lord? Who sings that?
I don't know.
Pretty sure. Well, there you go.
Isn't that great though?
Yeah.
That's just so.
It's like the Constitution doesn't exist in parts of our country.
Yeah.
There are entire parts of our country that have forgotten.
We're still figuring this whole thing out, Dan. We really are.
We're a young country, as countries go.
Yeah.
Only a couple hundred years old. We need some time to sort some of these problems out.
We were settled by crazies for the most part.
Yeah.
I mean, people came to this country because they weren't welcome where they left.
Because they were religious nut jobs.
Well, there were a lot of those.
And everybody was like, you guys don't fit in here. And they were like, fine, we're going to go across the ocean.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's a bad way to start a country.
Yeah. Well, yeah, if you want to be a happy atheist 200 and some odd years later.
Right. Well, when your country is started by people calling themselves pilgrims, or that maybe they didn't call themselves pilgrims. I don't know if they called themselves pilgrims, but we call them pilgrims now.
Yeah.
As though they were on a pilgrimage to a holy site.
Right.
But no, they just came here.
Yeah. When I was a kid, I always got the pilgrims and the pioneers mixed up.
Me too.
Yeah, it was
Me
hard.
too. As a Mormon,
Yeah.
you get your P word people mixed up.
Well, and they both did a big trip for
Right.
religious reasons.
Right. One one group founded a country, the other group founded a state,
Yeah.
a territory.
Yeah.
Both had sort of similar reasoning. Anyway. Oh boy. Yeah, that's right, everybody in Australia and around the world. We call the English people that came across the ocean and started our country, we call them pilgrims. That's so weird.
Yeah. Fortunately, they were mostly gone by the time the country was actually founded.
By the time they created
the revolution took place.
Yes, that's true.
They were by and large. It
wasn't them. It was not they who declared their independence from the UK. It was not they. Anyway, I'm going to move on to Italy.
I love Italy.
I know you do.
I adore Italy and everything about it. Like anything that happens there, I love it.
You're going to love
food,
this. This is a good one.
the sights.
A Salvadoran nun living in Italy.
Okay. Mm-hmm. Does she love Italy too?
I imagine. I don't know.
Okay.
She loves something in Italy. She was complaining of stomach aches, bad stomach aches.
No, couldn't have been the food.
No,
food's delicious.
It's so good. You get a little bloaty though. They like to overstuff you.
You just have to know how to say no.
Indeed.
I mean, it's a skill.
It is a
that
skill
you have to develop to tell an Italian mother, I
To stop
don't want
feeding
any
you.
more food.
No. Because no, just no means yes, please.
Yeah.
You need to know how to say.
You have to get between the food and your plate.
Right. You have to block. You have to know how to block. Play defense on the food. Yeah. Anyway, this nun, she was complaining of stomach cramps until she had her baby, which she didn't know was there.
No, come on. She didn't know.
A 31-year-old mother.
I never buy that story. Like the girl at the prom.
You'd think, although it happens enough that it seems like it's actually a thing. Like, because women's periods will stop sometimes, and you'll put on weight. I mean, and some women don't grow the way others do. Some women become very, very obviously pregnant. Most women,
right?
And some women don't.
I guess if she was of a certain size already, maybe she could have.
Yeah. Well. Regardless,
if she already filled out her habit.
She claims that she did not know she was pregnant. She just felt stomach pain.
I don't buy it.
And then boop, out comes a little one.
She may not have known she was pregnant, but she suspected that she was pregnant because she had had sex, and now she was like had morning sickness. She knows she's a woman. She knows she's had morning sickness.
Nun.
She's old enough to know. She's been around the block a couple times, apparently.
She's a nun. She doesn't know anything.
Well, she had sex.
Yes, that much I think is clear.
I mean,
there is precedent
within Catholicism
for this to have happened without having sex. I'm just going to say it.
It's been so long since there's been a virgin
It's
birth.
about time. It's about time.
That's true. Are we coming up on a jubilee year?
Yeah, right. She named the baby Francesco, which
is in Francis.
As in Francis.
No.
I think when
She
you're a
named it
nun,
after the Pope?
She named it after the sure.
Oh God.
For all we know, she named it after the dad.
Well, there could be a Francesco,
or there could
around.
Be a Pope Francesco.
Jeez.
What if she had the Pope's child?
Ooh,
that's a holy child.
Yeah,
or super evil.
I'm sure
born of the
in
worst
the history
sins.
of the church, she would not be the first nun to
give birth to a Pope's child.
Yeah,
I'm sure that's true.
Oh,
I'm sure.
Totally. Are you kidding me?
Yeah.
You go back in the day.
Oh, some Pope has knocked up a nun or two.
Oh, no, guaranteed. Now, whether the poor woman survived to actually have the child, that's another.
Well, or I mean, obviously, you don't talk about that. I like this. The nun belongs to an order called the Little Disciples of Jesus, which to me means that now there's an extra little disciple of Jesus.
Now there's another one.
The littlest disciple of Jesus.
Oh, that's amazing.
Fun. Oh, we have fun.
Oh,
well, if you want to have fun with us,
nun.
you can write to us. You can contact us.
This is true.
Fun things are happening. You can write to us at podcast@thankgodimatheist.com.
Or you could leave us a voicemail at 424-666-8442.
Right. Or go on the Facebook page. Mm-hmm. Good stuff happening there. It's facebook.com/TGIAtheist. And the reason that we say that, as opposed to just saying find us on Facebook, is that there are other Facebook groups and pages called Thank God I'm Atheist or Thank God I'm an Atheist or whatever.
We're not. Don't put that "an" in there.
It's so wrong. So we are TGI Atheist.
Yes.
So that's how you find us.
You could also go to the iTunes.
Oh, that's a good thing. We are so close to some milestones.
Some serious likeage.
On
followage
on the iTunes
or ratage.
I guess. Exactly. So if you find yourself having not rated us on iTunes yet, help us get over the mark. We're approaching 300 ratings and approaching 200 reviews.
Yeah.
So if you have some time, review and rate.
Yeah,
us.
it'd be glorious.
Yeah,
it would really be glorious.
Yeah. It's only really glorious if you give us 5 stars, though.
Yeah. And it's really helpful, if you go out and do this, right now.
Yeah.
Because I don't know this for sure, but there seems to be when there's activity with people liking us, we kind of shoot up in search results.
Yeah. Here's the thing.
It helps us be a little bit more
discoverable. You're listening to us on a device that can probably do this.
Just super easy.
Right now.
Just bleep.
You could just pause right now. You don't even have to pause.
I don't think you have to now.
Just go to iTunes and click rate, find us, and then click rate.
We've given you plenty of time.
Don't you think it's about time? Don't you think it's about time?
Well, all right. We should take a quick break.
Let's do that.
This is a do we know the name of the woman? I know that she's a Republican candidate for office up in Anchorage, Alaska.
Ooh.
Oh, she's running for the U.S. Senate.
Oh, U.S. Senate. Oh, yeah,
that's
even
good. Better.
That's good.
Oh, my God. She's going to sort of explain what's going on. Bear with us. The quality of the audio is not fantastic, but the payoff.
Quality of the event is what's fantastic.
Yeah. So she's going to tell us what's going on, and then she's going to get to the good stuff.
I'm here in Anchorage, Alaska. I'm at the Alaska Club West, and I'm spending a little time in the steam room with Susie. Susie doesn't know Jesus Christ as her Savior, but ironically, she has a pastor/priest who is her neighbor. So she has allowed me to sing and deliver a message in the Holy Ghost in tongues. I don't have much battery time left, so I have to go fast. And I wanted to sing a little worship song too. One point of clarification. Speaking in tongues or singing in tongues is very valuable because the message cannot be understood by Satan. But the Holy Spirit can use that message to bring deliverance, to bring clarity, to give discernment and words of wisdom and knowledge. And tongues is interpreted by a person who has the gift of interpretation. So I'm going to go fast. Sana sukonni mata sana Sanne sa tokore torbosito trebehele la moto torbaha. Sanne sokotoribosito trebehele. Sanne kotoribosito sotoribosito la cura. Basara.
Oh my God.
Oh, Dan.
You know what?
I'm so glad that Satan can't understand what she's saying because it's so important.
You know what I've just learned? I might be Satan because I couldn't understand any of that.
I know, right?
I might be Satan.
I know. I've been suspecting this all along.
It's so important. It's so important to do it because if Satan hears what you're trying to get at, then something.
Then he understood it.
Then he
That
understood.
is bad.
Yeah, because
There is nothing that this woman is saying that's making an ounce of sense to me.
yeah.
Like, none of it.
Do you really think that there's anything about what you're doing now? Like, okay, I'm just going to assume,
Okay.
for the sake of this argument, that Satan and God are both real,
Okay.
and that Christianity is true.
Oh, that's.
I
I don't know that I can go there with you now.
Well, no, but I'm going to assume all of that stuff just to make this point.
Okay.
Assuming all of that, Satan knows what you want.
Yeah.
It's this very simple equation.
Well-
Satan wants you to do bad things. God wants you to do good things. Satan wants bad things for you. God wants good things for you.
Right.
There's nothing you need to keep secret from Satan.
No.
He's got it down. He's got it.
And
You're
after
fine.
all these years, he probably knows God's tricks.
Yeah.
Because let me tell you, the Holy Ghost, it's not going to say something revolutionary.
No.
It's not going to say something that nobody's ever said before.
No.
Or nobody's never said before.
And even if Satan couldn't understand what the Holy Ghost was saying, his modus operandi doesn't change.
Right.
It's the same shit.
Yeah. Yeah. It's great, right?
Oh, well, thank you to Kathleen Tawn for that lovely explanation.
Yeah.
And I hope you get elected.
Wouldn't that be a thing?
Good luck in your bid for the Senate.
I would like to see her actually speak to the Senate in tongues.
Oh, on the Senate floor. She'll start singing. You are so bad. All right. Good grief. Well, we have some people who emailed us. I wanted to get to some of that because it's good sturf.
Okay.
For instance, Stephen wrote into us. He said, "Hey, Frank and Dan, really enjoyed the podcast. IMHO, Mom, that stands for, in my humble opinion. You show that not only are Mormons nice, but even ex-Mormons are. Aw.
Not always, but yay.
Yay. Not always on either count.
Yeah.
Anyway, I wanted to comment on a little rant you guys went on in episode 113 about belittling and mocking. I think a distinction needs to be made between people and ideas. I think that people deserve respect, at least until they demonstrate that they don't deserve it. Ideas, however, do not deserve respect. They must earn it. It's important to criticize ideas that are flawed, and it's just as important to do so in a way that specifically targets the idea, not the person. Well, Stephen, I agree with you largely. I think that's
very well put.
That's exactly it. I think that what needs to be said and what people in our little movement often forget is that if you disagree with a person, and even if you think that what they're saying is wildly ridiculous and their idea isn't deserving of any respect, you still need to converse with them respectfully.
Because in that case, it is a case about respect with the person.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah.
Yep.
But it doesn't mean that you have to sit there and, not point out where you disagree.
Right.
But there is a nice way to do that.
Well, there's an effective way to do that. And there's nothing effective about putting a person on the defensive.
Yeah. You could Bogosian the hell out of them.
Bogosian like crazy. But the thing is that and this is what we've learned over all of the time that I've been an atheist, which has been, a little over a decade. When I've gotten into arguments with people, they don't see me as attacking their beliefs. They associate these beliefs with their own identity. This is them that I'm attacking. Instantly, it becomes I'm attacking them. I'm not attacking their ideas. And it took me forever to figure that out because that's not how my brain works.
Yeah.
But the fact of the matter is that as soon as they feel like you're attacking them and not their beliefs, they dismiss you completely and just think that you're a jerk.
Yeah.
So if you want to be dismissed and not make any impact at all, then be disrespectful.
Go for it.
And it'll work.
Go do it.
We quote unquote not Pope Francis wrote in.
Oh, okay.
So
fun.
Just a regular old Francis. I guess you're run of the mill, everyday Francis. Francis wrote in. He said, "Hi, Frank and Dan. Love you. Love the show. I'm a former Seventh-day Adventist, raised Catholic in French Canada, now living in Indiana."
Wow.
Yeah.
There's a lot going on there.
It's quite a history there.
Wow.
And he says, but just about a year ago, I finally came out as atheist. Been very interesting since. A Facebook acquaintance of mine is a Calvinist, its own unique brand of crazy. Well, yeah. Oh, those Calvinists. That's fun. And claimed that Mormons are not Christians.
Oh.
I found this curious after looking up the definition of Christian. Seems to fit the definition just as good as every other mainstream denomination.
Yeah.
Can you speak on how Mormons perceive themselves, either as part of the larger Christian body or as a separate religion? I would like to hear your thoughts on this. And he included the little definition that he found for Christian, which is a person who has received Christian baptism or is a believer in Jesus Christ and his teachings.
Yeah. And by that definition, Mormons are Christian.
Are very much so.
And they
Mormons
believe they are Christian.
definitely think of themselves as Christians.
Absolutely.
They definitely. Now you have stated that you think they're not Christian.
I think that they don't belong to the Christian mainstream in the sense that, like, I don't know if that makes them not Christian or not, but the deal is that I do feel that their version of God and their version of Christ's sacrifice for their sins and how atonement works and how repentance works and all of that is very, very, very different than the standard Christian model.
They
have a very, very different view of Christ and his role in their eternal salvation.
Indeed.
And how they get to heaven. And then remember, their version of the afterlife,
which we'll be going into more of this. Oh no, we won't later.
Well, maybe on another.
I think
episode.
on another episode we're going to be.
We were asked about it, but
we're working
an email, and we're going to throw together a really nice one for you. But their whole cosmology, everything's just so kooky and so unique and so their own that I think they should just be like, hey, we're an offshoot of Christianity.
An offshoot. That's an interesting way of putting it. I do think.
But they believe that they are the
said,
restoration of the fullness of time.
Of Jesus Christ.
Jesus Christ's church that existed before Jesus Christ was ever even on the earth.
So they believe in Jesus. They read the writing. They read the Bible.
And they take what they like.
And well, like every group.
Yeah, but they actually state that they do that.
Well, but they also state that they believe the Bible to be the Word of God.
In as far as it is translated correctly, Dan.
Well, yeah.
Yeah.
But
there's always that. So anything that doesn't jive with them, they're just like, yeah, that part wasn't translated correctly.
But they follow Jesus. That's all I'm trying to get at.
Mm-hmm.
So I believe that they are Christian in that sense.
I
frankly,
accept
the other thing is, who the fuck cares?
Yeah.
You know, their beliefs don't change just because one person's willing to call them Christian and one person isn't.
Right. And what I believe that, or what I think they should go do does not change my perception of whether or not they're Christian. Or
Right.
They want to be Christian. All right, fine. Who cares?
Yeah.
Yep.
Why don't we do the voicemail, and then we'll do one last email.
Okie doke. Yes. And so this caller has specifically something to say about the new law in South Carolina. I
think it was South Carolina.
That was allowing for a moment of silence, I think is how they ended up passing it, right? Or trying to pass it.
Right. Well, there was already the moment of silence, and then they were like, but that silence is okay to be broken by the teacher praying.
Yes.
That's what they were going after.
And so this is about that.
Hey, Frank and Dan. This is your friend Chris from Salt Lake. I just, it's been a couple of months since I called. I wanted to say how much I totally love the podcast. Listen to it religiously. So I was listening to the most recent podcast about the law that's been proposed in South Carolina, which would allow or sort of require a teacher to offer a prayer in the morning. And I kind of think I'm sort of okay with it, in the same sense that I'm sort of okay with the Satanists putting up a statue in front of the State House in Kansas. When a Muslim teacher offers up an Allah Akbar, or an atheist offers a humanist moment, parents are going to be up in arms. They're only okay with this as long as it's a Christian prayer. And I think they'll get the taste of their own medicine as soon as just one teacher offers something that goes against the norm. It might be suicide for that teacher, but it is constitutional, so we'll see. It would be kind of interesting. Anyway, I love the show. You guys are amazing. I would love to do a Salt Lake meetup sometime. Anyway, thanks so much for what you guys do. Love you. Bye.
Aw.
Yes. Thanks for that.
That's just sweet as can be.
Yeah.
Well, oh my.
Bless
Yeah, something
you,
got me.
Dan.
I think I swallowed a bug.
Did you?
No.
No, I think it was a little bit of chocolate.
Mm-hmm. Anyway, what do you mean chocolate? We don't
There's no chocolate in here. Well,
eat on the breaks or anything. Anyway, here's the thing. I like what he had to say, and in theory, I totally agree with him. That yeah, I mean,
it would be delightful.
It would be worth moving to South Carolina, getting teaching credentials, and getting into spending 7 years infiltrating just for that moment.
Yeah.
No one's going to do it. That's my problem. Practically speaking, there's not a person that's going to challenge this in this way.
And in the meantime, you've got all these kids
being exposed.
Being exposed. It's against their will.
Yeah.
Potentially. Right.
Yeah.
And, that's not right.
No, I mean, how delightful would it be if a teacher just said, all right, kids, everybody get out your prayer rugs.
And today we're going to learn how to pray like Muslims
face
pray.
east. Here we go.
Well, I brought in an imam. Can everybody say imam?
That's right.
Imam.
That's right. And then the kid runs home and is like, we did a fun kind of prayer where you get to be on a rug and you get to do the thing. And then every mom collectively just shits her pants.
Yeah. I mean,
that would be great.
In theory, I love it.
Right.
Yeah. But anyways,
just not going to happen in practice. And by the way, and you know what? The email that I'm about to read brings up the same thing. We will be doing a meetup.
Yes.
A Salt Lake meetup. We've decided we're going to do one.
We're looking at the date February 12th.
Yes.
It's a Wednesday. And the way that we're going to do this, because we're not going to do like a meetup.com thing or anything like that. We're looking into some kind of like webby way that you can sign up. But for the meantime, just email us.
If you're interested, if you want to come out, that'd be great.
Yeah.
It will be something simple. We'll just go to a bar. Or,
It'll be in the evening. We're thinking like 7 p.m.
Yeah.
And tell us if you're under 21 and if there's enough people under 21.
Then
we'll try to figure out another location that's not a bar.
Yeah.
But if everybody's over 21 and or whatever, then we'll just
go and we'll all just have a beer with each other. We'd love to meet those of you who can make it. And so that's in the works.
Yes.
But mark your calendars.
Yeah.
Do that. February
12th.
Yeah. Okay.
It's a Wednesday, 7 p.m.
All right. Excellent. So here's another email we got. This one is from Josh. He writes, Frank, Dan, and Mackenzie. Oh, he says Mackenzie.
Oh, wow, Mackenzie.
How about that, Mac? I want to thank you guys for all you do. Your podcast and regular Facebook posts give me a happy place to go. You guys are awesome.
Mm-hmm.
With that said, I have a huge life question, and I don't have anyone to discuss with. I was raised in an evangelical Pentecostal family, the speaking in tongues and falling down and shaking in the spirit kind. No snakes.
Oh, that's
How delightful that distinction has to be made. In my heart, it makes me happy that you have to, are you the snakes? No, we're not. We don't do the snakes, but we do the falling down and we do the shaking and the speaking in tongues. I met my soon-to-be ex-wife in church. She was not raised religious. In fact, I converted her before we were engaged. She leaned on me for everything spiritual and philosophical during our marriage. When I began having my doubts, we discussed it together and decided to be agnostic. We discussed what this meant for raising our 2 children and for our marriage. We left the church and didn't look back. Long story short, she left me for another man, citing, amongst other things, my lack of faith as a reason for leaving me. I'm sorry, that's just dumb. She has begun to go to church with our children, and the only affordable daycare in the area is a religious one.
Yeah.
I'm the only one in my friends and family to deconvert, so my boys are now deeply immersed in religion. My oldest son has begun to regurgitate the fairy tales he is learning, and even told me I was, quote, making God mad for not praying for dinner. My soon-to-be ex's boyfriend uses a respect-based parenting style that includes strict spirituality, spanking with paddles, and intimidation techniques.
Ooh.
I, on the other hand, don't believe in breaking the child's spirit. And I encourage questions, learning, and utilize understanding and patience instead of obedience and respect. So the question becomes, how does a dad compete with the simplicity of religion? When my oldest son asks me why, I give him the scientific answer, and he says no, because God made it that way. The simplicity of it is hard to compete with. I feel like I have few options. I can't just wait. I can just wait for them to get older and plug them into logic and reasoning, but I'm afraid that religion will have already done its damage on their tender hearts. So he says, do I confront religion head on now? Do I undermine it slowly over time, or wait until they can reason things through? It's agonizing.
Yeah.
Wow, you are in a really fun position there, Josh.
Yeah, I don't...
Rough.
Paddling has to be child abuse. I kind of want to start there.
Well, I mean, yeah, you can actually probably, through your lawyer, legally
I mean, there's certain
require
things...
them to not paddle your children.
Yeah.
I don't know what the laws are. I don't know that that's true, but I would bring that up with your divorce
lawyer. I would definitely ask the question, because that's... I'm sorry, you should be... At least you should be able to object to it.
Yeah, you're one of the parents, too. You have rights in this.
That's really kind of where my mind went first.
Right. What you're not allowed... What you don't have the right to do is prevent her from indoctrinating your child. I'm pretty sure that you can't legally just stop her from indoctrinating.
Right.
So yes, the question is, when the kids are with you, what can you do? Mm-hmm. And what should you do? And mind you, what you're about to get is advice from 2 people who don't know anything.
Right. Yeah. Neither of us have kids.
We're both childless, and there's no degree in psychology hanging on either of our walls.
Right.
So that's a pretty strong preface to this.
But if you just want some ideas,
we've encountered these questions before, and maybe you haven't. So we'll say some things. And the first thing that comes to my mind is that I don't think you should hit it head on. I think that the smarter way to go, in terms of encountering this, is to say, you know what? I'm glad that your mom is teaching you that. That's what some people believe. I think the idea is just set up in their minds that there are alternatives, and that you want them to think to really think about what's more reasonable and what's more real. And never tell them what you think they should believe. Right. Just tell them how to think.
Tell them how to think?
Teach them how to think. Yeah. Model for them. Take them to places and just say, how do you think that works? How do you think this works?
He doesn't mention their ages, does he?
No.
It seems like they're still quite young.
Pretty young. Yeah, that's the sense that I get.
And
6-year-old. Oh no, that's him talking about himself as a 6-year-old.
Right. Yeah, so when they're young, the easy is going to be easy for them. Right.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And so I would continue along with what Dan's saying, and I think it's about enrichment activities.
Mm-hmm.
It's about exposing them to as much of the world as you possibly can that's appropriate for their age.
Right.
Getting out to good museums if you have any around you. I would even suggest, as crazy as it might seem, to maybe go see what some other churches are up to.
Take them to other churches. Expose them to the fact that other people deeply believe in very different things.
Right. If you have a Jewish synagogue, if you have a what do you call them, a mosque or anything, get them out to non-Christian-y things. And because it's going to just broaden their view of the world, and I think that that's key in this way, in this whole thing. And if your ex-wife objects, well,
she doesn't have any right to.
She doesn't.
She has no right to object
because
to that.
And maybe I don't know. This is probably bad advice, but you can just be like, well, I don't really want them at your church, but I'm not objecting to that.
Right.
Right. And so I'm just trying to show them the world.
I'm showing them what exists.
Yeah.
And again, you have no doctrine to teach them as an atheist. And I think that that's great. The best thing you can teach your kids is that I don't know is the smartest answer.
Yeah. And as they get older and they start, being able to see the world a little bit more for as it is, I think you'll start to see, hopefully, cross your fingers, some decent results.
Right. And I think
but I think it's about being It's non-confrontational.
Totally safe to say, yeah, mommy believes that, but I don't believe that. Yeah. So it's up to you to decide what you believe.
Yeah, absolutely.
And mommy wants you to believe it, and mommy will tell you that it's definitely true, but it's not definitely true.
Right.
It's maybe true, and that's something for you to explore.
Yeah.
And, and I think you should, and as they get older and start to understand things more, you can say things like, does that make sense to you? Say, hey, what did you learn in church? Does that make sense to you?
Yeah. Well,
do you think that that's true?
Read Bogosian's book, for crying out loud.
Yeah, that's true.
Make some little it's a manual for creating atheists, and seriously read through it, because you'll learn how to question belief,
right,
and unfounded belief in particular.
How to question the concept of faith without actually going after specific tenets of the faith.
Absolutely. Yep.
And I think that what you need to do is model for them, because the other thing is that you can't really teach. I mean, the best way to teach children is to model something for them.
Yeah.
So, if you go to a museum, just be like, oh, wow. Or even if you're just looking at the clouds. Mm-hmm. And, because obviously looking at the clouds from a religious perspective is all about God. Mm-hmm. Well, just look at the clouds and be like, wow, it's so neat that the water just evaporates from the earth and evaporates from the ocean and goes up and collects in the sky and then rains down when there's enough. And just say, just marvel and instill a sense of wonder, but with the rational basis in it.
Yeah.
You don't even have to tell them to believe it. just believe it yourself and show that it's nice.
Yeah. And you know what? If they end up growing up and they end up choosing to be Christian, at least hopefully then, because of all the, enrichment activities that you've, involved them in and their exposure to the world, they won't be dumb Christians. They'll at least be cool, interesting, thoughtful Christians, which...
You know what? That's such a good point. The truth is, I don't think you should make your goal to create non-Christian kids. Yeah. You should make your goal to create cool kids, good people.
Yeah.
Just try to make
Focus
them good
on
people.
that.
And whatever they end up believing, if they're good people, it doesn't matter. I mean, it sucks. You want people to be more science-based. We all do. We all want our loved ones to just encounter the world the way we do.
Right.
But fuck it. Yeah. Just make good kids. Make good people, and you're fine.
Yeah. And who knows?
And also, your ex sounds dumb. So I'm sorry that you have to go through all that.
Yeah.
But congratulations on your divorce. I always congratulate people when they get a divorce because it's clearly the right thing. Yeah. If things have gotten that bad, get out.
Yeah.
Well, there you go. Oh, I wanted to thank some donors. We have some donors that I needed to thank.
Yes, we do.
Lisa sent us a one-time donation. Thank you very much for that. We got a one-time donation from Aiden.
Okay.
Aiden.
Can we talk about Aiden for just a moment
We
here?
kind of have to.
So, well, do you want to read any of the message?
Sure.
He says maybe not too many of the details, but just
yeah. Hi, Frank and Dan, spelled like Frankenstein.
Right.
Only it's Frank and Dan. I'm Aiden, a 12-year-old atheist living in Utah.
Isn't that amazing?
Because my parents are terrible, I'm allowed to listen to your podcast. They are terrible, and they should be ashamed of themselves.
Oh no!
I always look forward to the Pat Robertson breaks, and as they are both hilarious and gag-inducing at the same time. I think it would be nice to have. Oh, he says something about what school he goes to, which we're not going to say. And I think it would be nice to have you present an inspirational message to the student body. Don't know that would be allowed.
Yeah, might be a tough.
Anyway,
tough case to make.
Thanks for the great work. Hope this small donation helps.
Sweet.
I've had a great time listening.
Ugh.
That is a 12-year-old giving some money to our podcast. Are you
amazing.
kidding me?
Amazing. I was. That one made my day.
That one means
truly made my day.
That means a little extra. That means a little extra. Thanks, Aiden.
Yeah, thank you very much, Aiden.
If you want to donate to the podcast, you can do so by going to the Thank God I'm Atheist website, thankgodimatheist.com, and looking for the support button on the right-hand side of the screen.
We sure do appreciate it.
Helps us do stuff. We got stuff in the works.
We have stuff.
We always say that, and people don't know.
Yeah, well, this is good. This is some serious stuff.
Yeah, we're going to be...
This stuff is...
We're purchasing equipment. Just understand, there is equipment being purchased for big new things.
Stuff.
Big new things right around the horizon. If you want to be a part of that, then donate, y'all. All right.
Thank you very much.
So, here we go. We're launching in. And what are we are talking about getting drunk in Utah.
Which is actually not hard to do.
No. Totally possible.
But we all know that there's this preconceived idea, this perception, that's the word I'm looking for, of Utah from the outside about getting booze in the state. Yeah. And, it's not ill-founded.
It's not based on nothing.
Yeah. I mean, we got some quirky little liquor laws. I will say this. They are way better than they used to be.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm thinking just 10 years ago better.
Yeah.
Like, it's remarkable what we've
made some improvements.
Yeah. I mean, for example, you no longer have to be a member of the bar that you're going to.
The bar does not have to be a, quote, private club.
Exactly.
This is how it used to be, everybody.
Yeah.
You went, and it scared so many tourists off because, like, they'd go to a place and they'd be like, okay, are you a member? And they'd be like, oh, shit, no, I'm not a member of your club.
Right. When, in fact, it really just... Like, if you would go through the steps, it really was just a cover fee.
Yeah, you just had to pay a cover charge and call it a private club and call it a temporary membership.
Yeah. Exactly. And so you were there for one night on your temporary membership, or it lasted for a few days, whatever.
Right,
it was,
or whatever.
Nonetheless, I do.
It was so dumb.
Anecdotally, I did hear a lot of stories, though, about persons of color who were visitors to our fair city.
Yeah.
Feeling like that perhaps they weren't being allowed in.
Because it was a club.
Yeah.
A private club. I'm sorry, this was a private club.
Yeah.
Were
And
people...
It really turned a lot of people off.
Yeah.
But nonetheless, that no longer exists. So, you can just walk into a bar, show your ID, and get a drink.
Right. Now, mind you, they'll scan your ID, which feels a little spooky.
No, that one's a little weird. Yeah.
Now they scan it and keep track.
Yeah,
They're keeping track of.
And again, this is anecdotal
who's going
as
to
well,
bars.
But I heard that the reason that happened was because a legislator, his son had an ID scanning company that wasn't doing very well. He couldn't convince the bars that it was a good idea.
Right.
And so they just legislated it.
Yeah. Yeah. I believe it.
Yeah. In this state, I totally believe that happened. Anyways, getting a drink in the state of Utah, the real issue here is that the LDS Church has had its fingers in politics.
Mm-hmm.
Like, they say they don't. They say they don't.
They very much claim that is not what their agenda is about at all.
No. They don't want to control the state.
Mind you, here's the problem. The majority of Utahns are Mormons, and an even larger majority of Utah legislators are Mormons.
Yes.
And therefore, if the church happens to come out with a statement, I don't know, maybe the week before the legislative session starts, and that statement says something like, I don't know, don't change the liquor laws, they're fine.
Mm-hmm. When they're not fine, there's still a lot of weird
that carries a little bit of weight.
It sure does.
So that's what happened. They came out with a statement this week. Mm-hmm. The LDS Church that just said
statement. I would call it marching orders. Actually,
it just said everything's fine with the liquor laws. We support them as they are.
Yeah.
And when Mormon leadership says something like, we support things as they are, that translates very literally to, excuse me, don't fucking change it.
Right. Yeah.
Like, that is what they are saying.
It's clear.
It is a commandment at this point.
The Lord.
Thou shalt not alter Utah's liquor laws.
Yeah.
So maybe we should explain what some of the wacky
the wicker laws
are in the fine state of Utah.
Well,
you're the bartender between the two of us. Why don't you talk about it?
Okay. So so let's say it's a restaurant that's being built. This is a new one. So all the old restaurants are grandfathered in. Okay. The restaurant, as it's being built, has to erect what is colloquially called the Zion curtain.
Yes.
Which is just a protective shield, a wall.
It protects you.
That prevents the those at the restaurant from seeing any kind of alcoholic beverage being made or poured.
Right.
Or
you cannot, because if the children, it's for the children.
It truly is for the Mormon children.
If the children see them making the drinks,
they're going to want one.
Somehow that's going to translate to them leaving the church because they're alcoholics now.
Yeah.
So yes, you're not allowed to mix a drink in front of the dining room of your restaurant.
Let me tell you, when I had when I was in college, I got a job waiting tables at the old spaghetti factory. At Trolley Square for locals.
Yep.
And at that time, we were actually not allowed to mention that we had alcoholic beverages.
Right.
Until after the patron brought up the subject.
Right.
So we could not have table tents. We could not actually print on the menus any of the drinks.
You had to have a separate menu.
It had to be a separate menu.
Could be requested.
Yes.
It could be presented upon request.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And so the whole gist of the whole thing was that Yeah, I mean, they didn't even want you saying, "Oh, can I get you a beer or a glass of wine?"
Right, exactly.
Or whatever, right?
You're at a Mexican restaurant and you're not allowed to mention that you have margaritas.
Exactly.
Yeah.
No, none of that. And so
that's changed. That
has changed.
different now, but it's still
But now
not...
they've done this Zion's curtain thing.
Right.
Zion curtain.
That's not. But that's not the only wacky thing.
That's not the only one.
There's plenty of other wacky.
You can have a maximum of 2.75 ounces of liquor in front of you at any given time.
Right. So if you have you could have a beer. It used to be that if you had one drink,
you could not have a second.
You could not have a second. You had to literally like if the server wanted to put another drink in front of you, you had to drink the rest of your drink and hand it to them, and then they could set down the next drink.
Which makes how much sense when the stated goal of the liquor laws is to prevent consumption,
right?
Or
right.
It's to reduce overconsumption, right?
Right.
Well, you just told the person to pound their drink. So, anyways, but now you can have 2 beers in front of you. You could have 2 glasses of wine in front of you. You could have a beer and a wine. You could have wine or beer with a spirituous drink.
Right.
Or, oh wait, there is no other or.
You
cannot have 2 spirituous drinks in front of you at the same time.
Right. Exactly.
Unless the one is basically done.
Right. Yeah.
And then but that's weird technicality.
Yeah. All of this is, and the onus is on the server and or bartender because if you are caught in violation of any of these rules, you can personally be fined pretty large amounts.
Yeah.
It's like in the $2,000 range, right?
Yeah, it's pretty bad. The restaurant's also fined, and most places will just fire you.
Yeah.
If you happen to, because here's the thing, and it might just seem like in most places people are probably like, oh well, if you get caught. Well, no, in the state of Utah they actually send in sting operations regularly, and so they send in underage people who are working with the cops, and they present their ID, and if you don't read it correctly,
if you don't catch
or if you don't actually ask for the ID, if you put the drink down in front of them, then
you're
voila,
screwed.
You're totally screwed. Yeah. What are some of the other funky dunky?
The thing, we're getting really like bogged down in the laws and
a little
wonkish.
Yes.
So I mean, the idea is that there are a lot of different laws. People, that whole 3.2 law, 3.2% alcohol by weight in beer. You get a lot of questions about like, do you have any real beer? Mm-hmm. You guys have any real beer here?
Yeah, and I'm always just like, sure.
Or all of our beer is real.
Define real.
Yeah, exactly.
Because I'm pretty sure the number of awards we have.
It's not fairy tale beer.
Yeah,
this is actual beer. But so I think, but the reason that we're bringing it up is because none of our liquor laws. So this recent thing with the LDS Church saying things are fine the way they are. Their argument is, they make a very compelling argument. Utah has some of the lowest arrests in terms of DUI,
public intoxication,
and some of the
we have the lowest rates of binge drinking.
Yeah,
we have so forth and so on. Like you name it.
So clearly they're working, right?
Our liquor laws work,
unless you factor in the fact that over 50% of our population is Mormon and they're not allowed to drink.
Yeah.
Which they don't factor in that fact at all.
They don't.
In making those claims.
I would say that if you look at the drinking population, boy, howdy, binge drinking.
Huge. Because they're reacting against these laws.
Yeah.
Like people are trying to work around the laws and are making themselves worse off because of it.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
It's just a matter of like this, and you don't have to drink. And like our point is not that drinking is great. That's not what we're trying. Although it's kind of fun.
Lovely.
Yeah, we have no problem with it. And you can come and drink with us on Wednesday the 9th, the 12th
February
of February
2014.
However, our point is simply that we live in a theocracy and it's stupid. That's mostly our point.
Well, the point is that they try really hard to say they don't interfere until something's not going the way they already wanted it to go,
Right.
and they interfere.
Well, and what's amazing about this is that they're interfering in a way that they so don't have to. They've got no horse in this race at all.
No.
Except, well, I mean, now mind you, the state the state controls all the liquor stores. So the state gets money off of it, but there's been,
Well,
we're in a conservative
state gets
state.
not only markup,
Right.
They don't get just the markup from the wholesale price. They also get taxes.
Right,
There's also
exactly.
sales tax on top of it.
The state gets all of the money.
Yeah.
And the thing is that, like, we're in a state where if you said, hey, why don't we privatize the electricity? Or rather, why don't we have publicly own the electricity? They would be like, are you kidding me? Are you crazy?
Right.
Everything needs to be privatized. Private industry does better. Private industry always does better. This is conservative. Until you get to liquor.
Yeah. And then they're fine running a state monopoly.
Right. Exactly.
Yeah.
And it's because the church says so.
Oh, yeah.
It's only because
If
the church says so.
Well, yeah. We just need people to move to Utah.
Well, what we
We
need
need
is
reasonable people to
Yeah.
please come to our state.
Yeah, it's a cool state.
It's an awesome state.
It's just that.
I'm not
Well,
from
and the other
here.
thing
I
is-
stayed. after
The other
college.
thing is that they there are people who don't want to have their conventions here because everybody's afraid of their liquor laws. I
Yeah.
mean, that's all perception. You can totally get a good drink in Utah.
Yeah.
There are great bars.
There's bars all over downtown.
Yeah, not that
So it's
not
not
that
like-
they make it hard for you as a proprietor to get your liquor license.
Yeah.
They make it tricky to open a bar, but once
yeah.
the bar's open, you can get your drinks.
Yeah. Yeah.
Anywho, there you go.
Mormons and booze.
Mormons,
They do not like it.
and they don't like you
They're
doing it.
afraid of it.
More to the point, they don't want you to do it.
But do you remember your perception of alcohol, Dan, as a
Right.
young believer?
It was the same as my perception of drugs.
Oh yeah.
It wasn't like there was no sense that you could just have a nice social drink.
Right.
Or that you could, maybe smoke weed once and once or twice a year and it
not
was
be
fine.
a bad person.
It was alcohol and drugs are bad.
Right.
It was this horrible thing. It was seriously, if you were drinking, it meant you were a bad person. It meant that you were on Satan's side and not on Jesus' side.
Oh yeah. Yeah, clearly.
Well, we're on Satan's side on this one, I'm afraid. So there you go.
All right.
I would love to be able to talk to someone from the church and just ask them why. Why do you care?
Right.
Why does it matter to you?
They care because they don't want it around them. I mean, that's all it is.
But why?
You know what? I think
Maybe everybody's
there was
having
that
more fun
video-
than they are, and they're just jealous.
That video that we watched where the guy's like, I mean, this is a high-ranking official of the LDS Church on video talking about this statement of theirs, and he's like, well, everybody has weird liquor laws.
Yeah.
No
Liquor
laws across the country are the same. So
He
they're
was
all
super
weird.
defensive about the idea that anyone would say that Utah's liquor laws are weird. He was super defensive. He was like, well, anyone who says that is just not paying attention because, other parts of the country have dry counties and blah, blah, blah. And it's like, yeah, they're weird too.
I personally think that they know that it's weird and they like it because they know that it keeps people away. They know that it keeps the wrong sort away, and they know that it controls the population. They know their time is limited, right? No, they know it. They know that as Salt Lake continues to grow and industry moves in, people are going to be coming in from out of state, and they're terrified at the prospect.
Yeah, they also have this identity built around being weird, about being the weird religious group,
Peculiar,
peculiar people.
Yeah, yep. The Lord's people are a peculiar people,
and that's what they've built their whole identity around. So if Utah's liquor laws get normal, they would lose part of who they are. And they can't.
Utah can't be perceived as normal.
No. Which I don't know that we're in any danger of anytime soon.
No, clearly. No. That's what I like about the place. But
anyway, if you have any questions about, where to go to get a good drink in Utah or any other things.
Or if you're visiting and you just want to know.
Yeah. You can write to us.
Yeah.
We're at podcast@thankgodimatheist.com.
You can send us a voicemail at 424-666-8442.
Right. Or you can go to our Facebook page and ask around. Folks will tell you. That's at facebook.com/TGIAtheist.
All right. Well, thanks to the Red Rock Hot Club for letting us use their music.
And
It's always
thanks,
so generous.
Thanks, Mackers, for throwing stuff up onto the intertubes for us.
Yep. It's great stuff.
And we will talk to y'all next week.
Bye-bye.